Hi everybody. We just got back from watching Creed. We actually saw it yesterday, and we thought it'd be fun to just do our 2 cents. Yeah,
That's how long the trip was. It took us a whole day.
it actually did take us a whole day, but it's a video that it's a movie that we've been trying to watch for the longest time because we're both big Rocky fans. Not so much Rocky 5, but every other Rocky was pretty
I
good.
thought it was only 4 Rockies. Rocky 4 and Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. So this is our take on Creed, the new one that just came out. We're going to talk about the movie, and then we're going to talk a little bit about spoilers right there. The first thing I want to point out is Michael B. Jordan's performance. He was so phenomenal in this movie. He really sold the movie for me. He was relatable. It's hard to believe it's this guy from The Wire, this kid with the braids, acting in a movie with Sylvester Stallone. Like, what did you think about his performance?
I like Michael B. Jordan. I just like him in general. I mean, he was one of the reasons I thought about going to see Fantastic Four, but I didn't because this wasn't in the stars for me to go see that movie. But I liked him. I liked him in the Fruitvale Station. I remember the same director who directed Creed actually wrote and directed. He did Fruitvale Station, and I liked that movie. It was really depressing, but it's a really good movie. And then this movie, of course, I love Rocky, so I was like excited to see it. So Michael B. Jordan, also, he's a good actor. He was awesome in this movie. He's really likable, charming, I think, for sure. Like, I think I like most about him. And everything in the movie seemed really natural, especially with him and his interaction with the other actors and etc.
Yeah, he was, on that note, he was very natural in the line that he delivered. You really felt that. Because Creed is essentially about the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed. How he didn't know about his son is he died before Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis Creed.
Drago. No, he didn't die. He got killed.
He got killed by Drago.
He got killed by Drago when Rocky refused.
Yeah, when Rocky.
Throw in the damn towel.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. So he was born, and so pretty much he's Apollo Creed's legitimate son. Yeah, and his mom died, and we started off where he was in juvie.
Was it juvie? Yeah, it was juvie.
Yeah, he was in juvie.
Not to confuse with juvenile.
Yeah, and
that would be weird.
Yeah,
juvenile.
And from there, he gets adopted by Apollo Creed's wife.
Or widow.
A widow. Yeah, it's a widow. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was dead.
Yeah, he was already dead. So yeah, Apollo Creed's widow.
In the damn town.
So he gets adopted by Apollo Creed's widow, and you know he has a stable job, but he wants to be a fighter. There's something about him that's a calling, where he's already set for life. He just got promoted, but he quits and decides to be a boxer. This is where the story really picks up, and Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis Creed goes to Pennsylvania, to Philadelphia, and to be trained by Rocky himself, and that's essentially where the movie is. I'm going to stop it right there before I continue to any more spoilers.
So we just found out he did have an unnamed daughter and an unnamed son.
Oh, okay.
That we just didn't know. I guess I didn't recall. Besides the dogs he was playing catch with in his pool with his TV. So apparently he does, but they weren't in the movie. Maybe they were older when Adonis was adopted by Marianne, played by Miss Claire Huxtable. I don't know her real name, but
Yeah, it was funny because when I saw her on screen, I was just like, I feel like I've seen her somewhere before, and I was like listing all the shows that I could think of. I'm going, was she in the Jimmy Fox show? No. Like, was she in? I was like getting every other show. Like, was she in the Jefferson? Like, no, that wasn't her. I was like going around it, and then Sean finally goes like, oh no, she was in Bill Cosby's show. I'm going like,
her name is Felicia Rashad.
Yeah, Felicia Rashad is playing Apollo Creed's widow, and I was just like, that's the face you just remember.
And I thought she did a great job. She was a good choice. I mean, she's already well loved by everyone. She's not really tied to the Cosby scandal, so that helps. She's a really good actress, so it was nice to see her. And then she wasn't like in it too much, but it was great. I mean, especially like in the beginning of the movie, like you were saying earlier, you see like Apollo Creed like actually Apollo Creed. Sorry, he's dead. Adonis Creed.
They call him Donnie, by the way.
Yeah, call him Donnie.
You know, so that way they can get a chant going on later on, kind of like Rocky. Got to end with a Y at some point.
I didn't think about that. So, but I mean, I thought the name Adonis was cool because I mean, if it was Apollo Creed's son, his name would be Adonis. You know, another god name. You know, so it works. And you see him like doing like fights in Mexico, and it's like they're like I think they're technically professional fights, but they're like I don't know, they're professional fights, but they're always like little small venues. And he was undefeated. You find out just been fighting Mexico.
Yeah,
and it was really cool, like just seeing him fighting, and like a lot of the angles in the boxing felt really organic. Probably a little bit more organic than the original Rocky movies for sure. I feel like a lot of the Rocky you didn't see. Typically in the Rocky movies, you only saw besides the boxing matches, but the fight you're waiting for all the movie. You only saw one when Rocky boxed Spider Rico in the beginning of the first one. Yeah. And besides that, you only boxing fight you saw after that boxing match you saw after that was when he fought Apollo Creed. And the second one, you only saw like the end of him fighting Apollo Creed, and you see him fight Apollo Creed again. And then the third one, you see him fighting like you didn't really see him fight. You see like a montage of him knocking guys out. You don't really get to see like fights before the big fight in the movie typically. So I like that too as a fan.
You actually see the build up for each fight where it's very nitty gritty, where you know he's a starter. He's already got some talent, but he definitely needs some fine tuning because he definitely has the determination. He definitely has the strength to back it up. He needs guidance, and this is a great way. The movie was a great way to mix old and new. It was a good percentage of that, where it's not just one of those movies where it's a straight up homage, where it's just like, oh no, we're just gonna go with the entire nostalgia factor here because this is the audience we're gonna do. But like, this is the Rocky movie, or this is a boxing movie for this generation, where you don't need to see Rocky, but you can get a sense because they summarize it enough that, hey, Apollo Creed and Rocky had history. I'm going to go to my dad's greatest rival to train me because he's the closest thing I have. He's the closest connection I have to my dad training me.
Well, the thing is kind of like the whole thing you hear with the character, how he just always felt like kind of alone because, I mean, obviously it's he didn't know. Well, growing up, he didn't know. I think it was hidden in the beginning when he was juvie. He didn't know his father was Apollo Creed initially, and then he didn't find out until Marianne told him. And then when his mom died, and then so the only person he ever had was Marianne, who wasn't his biological mother. But of course, she filled in the role and took care of him. But a lot of times, in him boxing, it's really implied that he was self-taught in boxing. So more so, he's had a lot of more natural instincts in boxing, but of course he didn't have like the drills or the tutelage to fine tune enough to bring out the better fighter. And so a lot of it, and then another interesting thing, you see him go to the gym that his father Apollo Creed trained in, which was ran by the son of Apollo Creed's trainer, who I can't think his name right now, but he's the same one that's screaming, "No in the damn town!"
The Delphi gym.
Yeah,
the Delphi gym.
The one from Rocky 3.
Yeah, the one from Rocky 3.
It was had like 2 lights in the whole gym. But people train there all the time. Apparently, you can train boxing in the dark, and that's what makes you a really good fighter. But you see him wants to come to train, and then the guys, the head trainer of the gym is yelling, and
Wait, hold on. We'll save that for the spoiler talk a little bit.
Oh, that's spoiler.
Yeah. But Stallone's acting was also very phenomenal for this movie. I didn't think he's still. I mean, I know he's an actor, but he's mostly in the Expendables, in these kind of just.
What movies he writing now? He only does movies that he's directing and writing.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, Stallone didn't write or direct this movie.
Yeah.
He was an executive producer, but that goes a long way, right?
But he was really good in this role. You really believe that, because this is a role that's meant for him. It's nice to see. After Rocky Balboa, it's nice to see where the character picks up from, and what he's doing. It starts to show his age and like what I like about it, because even though it shows that even though you have victories, there's also consequences to those victories. So that really cleared it up for me, and that felt really great. And the supporting actors were really good too. The girlfriend's name, which escapes me.
Her name is Bianca.
Bianca, thank you.
But I'm not sure what the actor's name is, but I'm gonna find out because I have to power the internet.
Yeah. So, while he's looking up Bianca's real name, she really brought out a little bit more dimension into Michael B. Jordan's character, gave him something more to care about.
Okay, the actress name is Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
She's been in a couple things. She was in the movie Dear White People. She was in what's the TV show? Was it Veronica Mars? She was in Veronica
I've
Mars.
never seen that show,
I
but
haven't either, but she's in it though. So yeah, and she's been up and coming. She's been a lot. She's been getting more popular a lot in a lot of movies. And her roles. Her role, I liked her really a lot in that movie. Well, like I said, the casting and the
yeah.
chemistry between all the actors and actresses are really really great.
Yeah, and it's nice. The movie actually gave her a character too. She's not just like a love interest, where she's like, she actually has a background, and then they talk about where she came from and why she does certain things. Because
she was in Selma too. She was also in Selma.
She was also
I
in
haven't
Selma.
seen Selma, but yeah, she's in that movie too.
I haven't seen that movie, so it's all right. But she definitely puts a lot of dimension to Michael B. Jordan's character. It's really great support to have. In order to have the great main character, you have to have good people around you too, because you can't just be Michael B. Jordan.
She was in For Color Girls also. And When a Stranger Calls, man.
I have not seen any.
I'm stopping there. These movies are getting worse.
Yeah,
but she's a great actress though, like just hands down.
If she's in Selma,
it was cool to see. Like I said, her character wasn't just there, like, oh, this is just a love it. She had like a whole, like he said, a whole story, a whole life of her own, and her life wasn't really revolving around Adonis either. It was just
it's one of those things where, like he mentioned, her life doesn't revolve around Adonis. To me, it's a pretty weak support character. It's like when the whole support character's life is just revolved around that one person. They don't have their own life. It made it seem that you kind of felt for Adonis when they were having that conflict. It's like you do want to see her again on screen. You do want it to work out, because it seemed that even though she's seeing Adonis, she doesn't need Adonis to live, because she survived before him, and she's got the mentality where she'll survive after him regardless of what happens in the relationship. And that was really strong, even for support character. She was only there for a few scenes, but scenes were great.
Yeah, and then like through the movie, she had like a bigger role. Like, and to me, I remember seeing it. This was when we saw it. Was my second time seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it reminded me a lot of the first Rocky movie, which, of course, later on the Rocky movies, like, well, past two, they became like more so like character movies. Like, all right, what we're going to see Rocky fighting. 3, you see him fight Mr. T, and then 4 is, of course, it's like really cartoony. Like, oh, let's fight this giant Russian guy or whatever. In this movie, it reminded me a lot of the first Rocky movie, which had a lot to do with more so the characters and just the relationships with each other. I mean, I look at the Adrian character. I never felt like Adrian was actually like her life revolved around Rocky either. She had her life. He made the pet shop and the stuff with Paulie, and like all these people had like the first Rocky movie seemed to me really like his lives feeling really real. Paulie did what he did and really didn't like it too much, and Rocky was like a muscle for a mob boss. He didn't really like it too much and whatever, but they found like kind of happiness within each other. And then Rocky was like this guy from their neighborhood, this regular guy. Their neighborhood's getting this big shot, and more so he kind of representing like, wow, you're like all of us getting this big shot at maybe the plans we wanted in our life to happen, and we did, and you're that. And then this movie, I got like that big feeling, not necessarily the same thing, but more so like it really wasn't about like Adonis's fight really wasn't about like him becoming this big fighter. Or it wasn't about. It was more so just him with the identity of himself and then with his father's name, who he never met, and then he never wanted to be like in his shadow. And you see a lot of through the movie, a lot of times where people mention like, oh, you think you're gonna get easy because you're dead, and he's like, well, I didn't know, I never know anything. Whatever you're saying, it has nothing to do with me because being truthful is like this guy's never in his life, so how did it really affect his life that much? And like the scene back where we were saying when he goes to the gym, the Delphi gym. The trainers kind of yelling at him, like, these guys come here because they need to, box to eat. They need to, fight to eat. Because since Adonis is living with Marianne, Apollo's widow, she has they're rich because he was just the biggest fighter. And in the Rocky universe, Apollo Creed is essentially like Muhammad Ali, the biggest fighter ever, most popular, the best fighter ever. And so he's, since he was adopted by her, he had a really well-lived life. He told him he had a silver spoon life.
It was really luxurious. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to throw. He had to key in the gate, and he was driving a Stag.
It was like a 1960s Mustang, like, of course, like just refurbished and just like looked like
he was really living up.
It was just long. It was really cool. Like that was one of the good things. I like the music a lot too.
Oh, the music!
It was really good music.
Thank you for bringing that up. The soundtrack itself, is really good because it puts an old Rocky spin to it, but very modern. If you look it up, I was doing a Spotify, and the Creed soundtrack is actually there. The only thing I didn't like is like some of the tracks was made by Meek Mill, so it's like,
well, the movie set in Philly, and he's from Philly.
That makes sense.
I mean, mind you, when they chose his music, the whole thing
I'm
was
not the
Drake
big. Yeah,
I mean, so yeah,
that's true. 'Cause that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, after the whole Drake thing,
I
but
mean, Meek Mill's music's not bad. I mean, I've never been like a huge fan of him, but
I'm not a
his
fan.
music is not bad at
Yeah.
all. It's just the whole stuff with Drake that's kind of set aside.
Yeah,
and then, of course, you're gonna get me. Who was like the technically the most well? I mean, the Roots are like still like probably
that's
the most
true.
well-known like hip hop group, or rappers.
Yeah, and it's
Philly, but he's like the most like hot like Philly rapper right now. So, and his music kind of works for like
gritty. Yeah, I got.
It amps up. Like I mean, a lot of his music is good to work out to. So a lot of you hear is when him like working out in the gym or like running and everything. Or like I like the take it kind of took from Gonna Fly Now, and they did not necessarily a remix, but they kind of have like a lot of the, like if anything sampling up.
They took the samples.
Because I think it was Childish Gambino, Gene Aiko, and Vince Staples on the song. I said in the moment or something. The song I Shazammed it while we're in there because I really like the song. I'm gonna look it up now. But it was awesome. I liked it a lot. The sound of it was still like you still get the drums and the horn. We saw it yesterday, and since I got Waiting
home,
for My Moments song. Waiting for My Moments.
Yeah, that's the one with Donald Glover in it.
Donald Glover, Gene Aiko, and Vince Staples, and Ludwig Göransson. I think he might be the producer or something. But hey.
And the first song, Last Breath, was made by Future. So it's like Meek Mill is in it, but he's not really prominent in the whole album. But when I did see that, I was just like,
It was playing modern music and more so doing hip hop. I mean, a lot of times too, just because I mean, like it wouldn't. Given the music for the Rocky movie kind of worked for it, it was more so because who did it? Bill Conti did the whole score for the first movie.
That's
right. No, it was awesome. It was a really good movie, and I don't think you need to see any Rocky movie.
No, you don't. You just don't.
If anything, you're introduced to a new character, which you follow him. You
it's a reboot, essentially, of the universe of the Rocky universe.
It's not even a reboot though. It's extended, or it's the extended Rocky universe now.
Yeah, extended Rocky universe. Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Extended Rocky universe, or it's not even a requel. You know, they got the reboot prequel. I mean, no, the reboot sequel. They call it requels, but it's not a reboot though.
No, it's in the same universe. You don't need to see the other
spinoff. It's a spinoff. That's what it is. It's a spinoff.
Yeah.
I mean, because
would spinoffs count in movies?
In movies, yeah, spinoffs count.
Okay,
spinoff count. I mean, it's not starting from nothing. And then a lot of times in the movie, like it really, like I say, of course you find out what happened to Rocky after the Rocky Balboa movie, which I really liked. It made up for the one Rocky that came after four. That I'm not gonna say out loud, but it was really good. It was a good. Like you got to see an update in Rocky's life, but it really didn't focus on Rocky. It wasn't like the same old. Yeah, I'm going to fight now because I want to fight.
He was a supporting character the whole time.
Yeah, so it was really good. I liked it. I suggest if I was to rate it out of 5 stars because that's the system we're on, right?
Yeah.
So hey, 4.5 stars. Even though he said I couldn't, I'm 4.5 stars. So yeah,
I'm definitely gonna give it a 4 out of 5. So the acting, the cinematography, the soundtrack. It got me listening to it even after the movie made me think about it. I would definitely buy it on Blu-ray. 4 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. If you're feeling a little sketchy about it, matinee it, then you don't go wrong with it. I'm gonna leave this at that. Now we're gonna do a spoiler talk right now. So, all right, spoiler talk. Like, there was definitely certain scenes in Rocky that really, at Creed, excuse me, I called it Rocky. Creed, that like definitely hit it home for me. One of the things is that when they were arguing, that part that got to me is like Rocky movies makes you feel feelings.
Well, at least one. Okay, you know what? Four, okay. Well, yeah, they do. At least at 1.75. Five was just a piece of shit. Yeah, it had. Sylvester Stallone, like I said, acted in the movie. He was like, I'm gonna act in this movie because why not? Or maybe because he didn't write it either.
Yeah.
But not like Sylvester Stallone.
When he found out he had cancer, when he went from I want to know what the news is, he went from jolly.
Cancer, like he said, she had that woman cancer.
And he took off his hat, and he just he went from happy to just sad like that. And he goes, "I've seen this fight before. It's a fight I can't win." Where by this point he was training Michael B. Jordan's character, and he's essentially just given up. And they were arguing, and he's frustrated, and he tells Adonis that, "No, man, I'm just an old man trainer. We're not family." And that's because to me, Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis was looking for a father figure. He's been living with Rocky for a few weeks at this point, training, and he felt that he's been closer to him
You
for
think it
him to
was his
say
father
it.
figure?
Well, it's the closest. He called him Unc right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in a sense. I mean, maybe so.
Yeah.
I was thinking just somebody that, because he said he's always been alone, because he was always like,
Yeah.
it was always just him by himself, kind of
Yeah.
like him against the world type mentality, even though he had like Marianne, but it was just like him against the world. He never had anyone, because I mean, because she didn't even support him in the boxing thing,
Yeah.
so he never really had anybody to support him in boxing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always thought that, when he said
Maybe
that.
it's just me looking into it, because in that sense, he's looking for somebody he can relate to, somebody who can proud of. He's been alone this whole time.
Yeah.
When we saw him at first, he was like at 9 years old. It was 1998, and he was already in juvenile hall. The first scene you see is him just beating the shit out of this little boy.
Yeah.
And
he was a kid too.
He was a kid too, and the other kid he was beating up almost like at least 5 inches taller than him. So.
Yeah.
But like right off the bat, you could sense he was kind of shielding himself from other people after his mom died. So when Rocky picks him up, trains him, he's getting the support, he's getting all these tips on how to be a better boxer, because he already has a talent, he's already got determination, he just needs guidance at this point. And who better to train you than your dad's greatest rival, who's been a close friend to him the whole time, who's been more like a brother than really a fighter. It's one of those friendly rivalries that occurs between Apollo and Rocky, and I thought that was a great way to write it, that he's just looking for a trainer at this point, but then he eventually becomes the closest family he has, because Rocky understands the feeling that he goes through.
Yeah, because in a lot of the Rocky movies, I think, well, not a lot of movies, Rocky didn't have family, like, before Adrian and Paulie, it always seemed like, because, I mean, I think you saw pictures, like, in the first Rocky movie, you see, like, pictures of his family and everything, and him as a kid, but you never see him talk about his family, or any other movies, you never see him talk about his parents, or brothers, sisters. So I always just assumed that his parents were, like, dead, he may have been the only child. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, this is kind of, like, random off subject, but it's, like, one of the scenes that always got me in the Rocky movie. It's always was, like, grab the emotional strings when you see, like, you see him look in the mirror, and it's like a picture of him as a kid. This is before he finds out about the fight, and he just gets like, he sees the picture of himself as a kid. He stares at it for a while. He kind of gets like angry, and like maybe like shakes the mirror or punches the dresser. One of the two. Like he just kind of doesn't like. It seems like he's kind of disappointed what his life turned into. You typically, when you're a kid, you think, hey, I'm gonna grow up, be an astronaut. And you look up maybe 15 years later, you're not NASA. You're not a cosmonaut, so
you can't even be a cosmonaut.
Yeah, so it's just like one of those things, like and it seemed like that. And so, like, I think Rocky can relate to him not having anybody, and more so in the movie now, Rocky was kind of alone because you see Adrian was dead in Rocky Balboa, and it seems Paulie is dead in this movie now too. So yet again, Rocky's alone. He has a son, but his son moved to Vancouver. Mm-hmm. He got a girlfriend.
Moved up there. He talks to me once in a while.
And
he calls me.
But he's happy. But yeah, like,
there's a thing about Stallone's acting. It's just like he's saying the goofiest lines, but he says it so humbly that you listen.
I think Rocky's been parodied so much sometimes that when you think of Rocky, you think it's over. Like, oh well, Adrian, even though it's not really that bad, it's not that exaggerated. I mean, and in the Rocky Balboa movie too, you see him and his son didn't have the best relationship.
Yeah.
His son was like didn't like live in the shadow. Like his son was like more in the corporate world. And so,
he did mention that he didn't want to be Rocky's son anymore. Like,
what type of thing? The Rocky Hills people were like, oh yeah, you're Rocky's son. Yeah, you're Rocky. Kind of like having a celebrity parent or just like it's a hometown hero essentially, because that's what Rocky is to everybody back in Philly in the Rocky universe. So it was pretty cool. I think that's how Rocky connects to Adonis a lot, just knowing just being alone and trying to do it on your own type thing.
That makes perfect sense, because Adonis felt the same thing. Like there was a scene where like what Sean was talking about during the review, where there was an altercation between his girlfriend Bianca and the headliner of her show, because the headliner of her show called him Baby Creed, and he's going through a lot of insecurities at this point where he wants to be called Johnson, not just Creed. They forced him to take up the Creed name, or else there wouldn't be a fight, because he was fighting in some back, some hole in the wall in Tijuana. Those 16 fights that he supposedly won, and that's the thing, that insecurity got to him, and he just like totally laid out the headliner of Bianca's show.
Yeah, because he didn't like because he didn't like being associated with his dad
Yeah,
because I mean obviously he never knew him,
yeah.
and he kind of wanted not being the shadow on top of a guy he never knew,
Hmm.
and at the same time he never felt like that was his name. He
Yep.
really didn't have identity. The movie for Adonis, I think overall the trip for it was all about identity. At the end of the day, it was about like who he is and what he
Yep.
saw himself as being,
Yep.
and I think a lot of times that was more so like well, that's what it really was.
Yeah.
And then kind of towards the end of the movie, he realizes like, okay, he is Apollo Creed's son, but he's his own person, and
Yeah.
he's not choosing to be running them, but he's at the same time he's honored by having
Yeah.
having the name and kind of like the legacy, kind of like to think about.
It's it's kind of like a parallel to the Rocky to the Creed to the Rocky movie itself. It's like, yeah, take the name, but be your own person.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, there's a comparison here now. All right, you're Apollo Creed's son. All right, you see the similarities. Okay, now take it off into your own direction. Because
yeah,
like now you got people paying attention to you. Okay, but now do your own thing.
yeah,
Don't be an exact copy of your dad, but be your own person.
yeah. That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I mean, I like a lot, and then and then I think him relationship with Rocky was kind of like the way he can like another way to reach out and find like a way to be like somehow a relationship with his dad or just getting some type of idea. I mean, of course, he had like Marianne as his one of his connections or like a way to reach his dad, and he had Rocky, another person he fought with and became later on they become best friends was another thing, which was cool.
Yeah.
Which is like I like the movie a lot.
And even though it's just a plot to the movie, I'm glad that they gave Stallone something to fight for, other than just a boxing match. They actually gave him his own arc as well when he got the cancer, because he was literally giving up because he saw what happened to his wife who had cancer, and he just decided to give up because there was also a point where he's going, well, everybody I love is already gone, so I'm just gonna give it the fight right now because it's not fair to me. Everybody's already gone and I'm still here. And then Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis is like, no, I'm still here. Then what am I? And that's when he said like, well, no, I'm just an old man trainer. I'm just a guy training you. We're not family. And you could see right away after he saw that he upsetted Adonis, he asked himself, why did I say that? It's just because it shows that even though you're somebody like Rocky, you're in that kind of character that people put on a pedestal, you're human too. You just found out you got cancer. Of course, you're going to be depressed. You're going to lash out on the wrong people, because you're just depressed, about that news. But Michael B. Jordan told him that when they finally reconciled, if I'm fighting the ring, how does it look like while I'm there and you're dying of cancer? If I'm fighting, you're fighting too. And that was really nice because
Rocky, I think he was feeling alone again. So because like I said, it's the closest people to him were dead.
Yeah.
And so he really didn't have a good relationship with his son like that. So he was just like, he kind of like maybe trying to detach, like the attachment he had to Adonis, just because he was like, I'm dying and I don't want to be a burden on him.
Yeah.
Thing, he kind of just wants to die anyway.
Exactly.
More so like when he kind of lost hope type thing,
Because he would go visit the graveyard like at least once or twice a week, and it would just like read the news. To the gravestones, so you could already tell he's like prepared for it. It's kind of he's slowly dipping his feet in the water, preparing for his end. But then Adonis came up and just revived his soul, because Rocky always fought in the ring. Now the movie gave him a fight that's outside the ring, where it really developed character, where it really showed strength, and that's what I like, because it took a push for this kid that he just knew for a couple of months now to really push him and guide him. It's like, hey, this kid is right. It's like, why am I giving up right here? Because here I am preaching to other people what they should do, and here I am just giving up.
Yeah, it was interesting though. It was a great movie though.
It was. Like the one line that really still got to me is like when he got knocked down really bad and he just got back up, when he was remembering every bad thing that happened to him, like by the last fight, when he got knocked down, the strongest he was remembering his childhood. He was remembering his adopted mother. He was remembering Bianca's hearing aids. By the way, oh, that's another thing. She's like, she's got something with her hearing that she's losing it, progressively.
Yeah, she had progressive
hearing loss. Yeah.
So she needs to use the hearing aid when she's like plays with a lot of background noise.
Which is this is why
she's a musician.
But she's a musician. It's an ongoing theme with the movie where it's just like you're just following your dream, regardless if you know what the end result is. The journey is the thing that makes it happen. By the end of it, he didn't win this last fight, but he won the battle against himself, because there was also a scene where Rocky points to Adonis in a mirror, like, okay, the biggest fight you'll have is with yourself. That works in the boxing ring and that works in life, and that couldn't be any more truer. Especially in the scene where he was at the last fight. This guy's in your way. Knock that son of a bitch out.
Yeah.
Say it with me. I'm gonna knock this son of a bitch out.
I want to watch this movie again. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna try to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out. Hopefully I'm not broke. If I'm not, I'm getting the movie. But besides that, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I like it. I like it. It was such a good movie. Like just being a Rocky fan, just growing up liking it so much, and it's like getting a new character. It was great.
Definitely. It's good. So definitely go see it. If not, rent it. If you buy it and if you enjoy Rocky movies, you won't be disappointed.
Great.
It's just it really put a lot of life back into the Rocky universe.
Do you want a sequel?
Yeah, I would definitely go see a sequel.
I don't want a sequel.
You don't want a sequel?
So I'm like, why do I need a sequel? I mean, given we got the sequels of Rocky, but I think that's different. But to me, I think a sequel would be like,
because I heard this movie's getting nominations, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna get a sequel.
Yeah, I hope not. I don't, because sequels. The thing is, sequels can ruin things a lot, especially like the Rocky. So like, is he gonna go through fight like random people now? Is he gonna fight like who's gonna be?
Well, at this point,
is he gonna fight like the Rock or something?
If they do,
it's gonna be Adonis versus the Rock.
I wouldn't mind a sequel.
He gonna kill you. That man gonna kill you.
You think I'm tough?
I don't want a sequel. I mean, because like I like that story and its open interpretation.
Yeah.
And because it's not gonna be as good as the first movie. It's just not.
Well, you can say that about a lot of things, but if they do make a sequel, I'd like to see him at least be champion. If they do a sequel, at least just one. They don't need to drag it out like
maybe like 5.
Creed 5. You know,
back to the hood.
Because I don't want to get to the point.
To the inner city youth.
Yeah, I don't want to get to the point where Rocky dies. I don't want to see that scene.
Nah,
you know.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for that. If they do one more after this,
in my head, I want Rocky to live forever. Rocky.
Yeah, you know,
his cells are just like little boxing.
Because even though this is not Rocky's movie, he still came out fighting to the end. So it just shows, and it was a good contrast.
Yeah, see, for me, it wasn't about him winning. It was more about his personal journey.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, he liked the personal journey of just, like, his identity. That's, like, the whole thing. And by the end of the movie, he, like, his identity. This is who I am. He's comfortable with who he is. And then something he wanted to do was boxing. He finally got to do it. Like, something he wanted to do. And he got his foot in. Like, and the thing about fighting, which is for a lot of sports, like, necessarily, you can lose a fight, but still, like, come out a winner.
Yeah. I mean,
just because, depending on how good the fight is, or how well you fought.
Right.
You know.
Even if they stop with this movie right here, I'd be perfectly fine with it. But if they do a sequel, I'd still go see it. So I know this guy's gonna go see it.
I'll go see it.
He's gonna say, I don't want to see a sequel, but
even though I don't want to see it, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it too. But it's like, I'm perfectly fine if they stop right here. But if they do a sequel, great. But just one more, not like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need to drag out his story that long, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The next movie they're gonna pick like a Pacquiao-ish guy, make a
that Miss Universe fight.
Miss Universe, Miss Columbia fight. We just heard about that right now, by the way, about the mix-up. So that's why we're mentioning it. Okay, so we're gonna stop the review and spoiler talk right here. Thanks, guys, for watching. 40 minutes of it. Well, I'm probably gonna cut it down, edit it later on. But like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.